What is up, my YouTube family? It's me, Ushi, and welcome back to another true crime episode whereby we sit down weekly and we talk about Namibian true crime cases as well as cases from Africa. So today we are going to talk about the mysterious disappearance of a 3-year-old boy. Disappeared in December 2020. Spencer is a 3-year-old boy who disappeared on the 28th of December 2020. Right, so now that I got that out of the way, now let me just start talking about the story. Let me get into it. But before I get into it, I would like to give a disclaimer. Everything that I say in this video is alleged. Everything is alleged, but this is what happened. This is what went down. December 2020, Julia decided that she wants to spend the holiday with the father of her child, Nelson. And to do this, they had to travel from the north to Luderitz. Julia, in December, traveled with her baby boy, 3-year-old Spencer Mandela, and they traveled all the way to Luderitz to go spend the festive season with Nelson's father in December 2020. On the 27th of December 2020, his father came to the kitchen and found Julia cooking. She was preparing supper. Spencer's father, Nelson, informed Julia that their baby boy wants to go spend the night at his aunt's place. Both of the parents really didn't see any problem with this because it's just nearby, and also it's his aunt. He knows his aunt. He's used to his aunt and his cousins, and it's family. So both of the parents really didn't see any problem with this, and then they allowed Mandela to go spend the night at his aunt's place. This was now on the 27th of December 2020. The next morning, the 28th of December 2020, woke up at his aunt's place in Area 7, Luderitz, Karas region. He woke up that morning on the 28th of December at his aunt's place, and his aunt that morning was not around because she had to go to work. She had to go to work, so she went to work. Now, guys, it is the thing with this case is that it is a very, very mysterious simply because there's just a lot of information that does not correspond. Some sources claim that when Spencer's aunt left her house that day to go to work, some sources claim that she did not leave the kids in the care of adult supervision, meaning that she left the kids alone. But other sources claim that she actually left the kid with her cousin, who was an adult. So it is not quite clear as to whether the kids were alone or they were with this cousin. But most of the articles that I've read claim that the children were left alone without any adult supervision. She said that she left the kids sleeping. This is the craziest thing about this case. It didn't even take long for this little boy to disappear. Mid-morning, that same morning, the aunt received a phone call which was telling her to come home immediately because something bad had happened. When she got home, this is when she was told that Spencer disappeared. He is nowhere to be found. Mind you, at this point he is only 3 years old. She is told that Spencer is nowhere to be found, and immediately, obviously, people started looking for him because where could a 3-year-old boy go? Spencer's parents were informed, and everybody else were informed. The police officers were informed, and then everybody else, or literally like everybody in Luderitz, like especially the authorities, took this immediately seriously because when a 3-year-old boy disappears, this is not a game, right? Because 3-year-old boys don't have the knowledge to say, I'm going to visit my friend who. So if they are missing, you know that this is serious and they are missing. Julia and Nelson were informed immediately that their boy is missing, and the whole search started. The police officers were called that day that day, they were not called the next day, they were called that day, and this is when the search was extended to other areas of Luderitz. When the police officers came, they came with a sniffer dog. For those of you who don't know what is a sniffer dog is those dogs that sniff the scent of people. What they do is they give the dog the person's scent, and then the dog follows the scent, right? So they also brought along sniffer dogs. Now, the sniffer dog was the very first lead. This was now in 2020, almost immediately after the disappearance of Spencer. The sniffer dog went all the way. He sniffed Nelson's scent all the way until they reached the Aeroplane Bay in Luderitz. Now, Aeroplane Bay is not an area whereby a 3-year-old will walk to by himself, right? Let me tell you, the terrain of the Aeroplane Bay is crazy. It is rocky, it is dangerous. Even I, as an adult, will not be able to navigate that area. So the sniffer dog went all the way to the Aeroplane Bay, and then when the sniffer dog and the officers got there, the dog lost the scent, meaning that the dog didn't really, there was not much that the dog could sniff at that point, because the dog just instantly lost the scent. Now, my goodness, this case, as I was researching it, it was giving me a headache. It was giving me a headache because there was just a lot of things that were not making sense. The scent reached Aeroplane Bay, and then the scent disappeared. When the scent disappeared, now to the authorities and to the police officers, they were back to square one. Now they didn't have any more leads, because the one concrete lead, which is the scent that they had, was gone. It vanished. Now this is 2020. The parents of Spencer, when I tell you that Julia and Nelson searched for their kid, you will not believe. They went through up and down just so that they can find their child. So the search continued, but that year in 2020, to be honest, the search didn't really resulted into anything much. There was not anything serious that they found. And yeah, so now we are gonna go to 2021. In 2021, around June, somebody from Mpumalanga, South Africa, a lady from South Africa, Mpumalanga, contacted Julia through Facebook. She contacted Julia because at this point, the story of Spencer's disappearance had literally made national headlines. Everybody at this point knew Spencer had disappeared. Everybody, like literally. So this news also reached South Africa, and a lady in Mpumalanga, South Africa, contacted Julia through Facebook, and she contacted Julia to tell her that Nelson has been sighted in Mpumalanga and he has been taken to the police station, so Julia should go to the police station to go identify the boy. Now Julia, she did a very smart thing. What she did is she let the police know immediately, like, this person is saying ABC. The police took this seriously, and then they made connection. They contacted the South African police officers, the ones specifically in Mpumalanga. They contacted the South African police officers so that they can find out as to what is going on. What are we hearing? And also another thing that the police officers did is that they contacted this lady straightforward, like directly, to try to get more information. But the moment when the lady noticed that the police officers were involved, she started to change her story. She changed her story, and the police officers came to the conclusion that this woman is lying. She probably was just after the reward money, because the reward money at that point stood at 50,000 Namibian dollars. It still stands at 50,000 Namibian dollars. So the police officers just came to the conclusion that, she's not telling the truth. Basically, she's just probably just after the reward money. This was now in 2021. Another thing that happened in 2021 is that the Zone Safety private investigative company also took on the case. And when they took on the case, they told the public that they were done with the case like 60%, but they did not really give any information as to what did they find, what did they not find. But there are two main significant things that they said One is that they believe that this was a kidnapping case. For the love of me, I don't think a 3-year-old boy will walk through the streets of Luderitz and not be spotted or sighted by anybody. So the Zone Safety private investigation company came to the conclusion that this was a kidnapping case. Spencer did not just wander off on his own. Also, another thing that they suggested, this was just a suggestion, I don't know whether the police took it seriously or not, but they suggested that the police officers arrest the aunt, not because she's connected to the disappearance, but simply because of negligence, because they believe that she should at least be held accountable for the fact that she neglected the kids, and that is what resulted to the disappearance of Spencer. It was because of negligence. There was no adult that was supervising the kids, so at least she should be held accountable for that. I don't know whether the police took Zone Safety seriously, or maybe they just listened and then they let it go. So now, oh my goodness, now we are in 2022, nothing is happening. Julia is still going to the police officers to go ask frequently, regularly, to go ask whether they have any information regarding the disappearance of his son. In 2023, Julia reached out to a psychic from South Africa called Diva Di Andrea. And when she reached out to this sidekick, she basically just wanted answers. This is a sidekick that deals with solved cases, missing persons cases, cases whereby people have gone missing mysteriously and things like that. So she reached out to Diva, and Diva came down with her own conclusions as to what happened. She's a sidekick, and a psychic basically is a person who can see the past and the future. A psychic is a person who can see things supernaturally, things that us normal people are not able to see. I was going through her whole Facebook page. Julia's now. I was going through her whole Facebook page, and oh my goodness, I could see how she just wanted answers for her child. She reached out to Diva, and Diva came with these conclusions. This is what Diva said. Just gonna summarize. Diva said a lot of things, which I'm going to put on the screen as well, but I'm just going to summarize the things that I found was important that the psychic said. The psychic said that Spencer was basically abducted, and he was abducted by a person who was known from the paternal part of the family, and this person was like a love interest of the paternal side of the family. She was not quite clear, but this is what she said. And she also said that this person took Spencer from the aunt's house, and this person took Spencer to his house, and he did unspeakable things to Spencer, and he ended Spencer's life. Diva also provided a map, which I'm also going to put on the screen, where she said that this could possibly be the area where Spencer's body could be buried. Mind you, she's a sidekick, okay? So sidekicks, they are a hit or a miss. Sometimes they are spot on, sometimes they are a miss. You never know with these supernatural things, but that is what Diva said. Spencer's mom, Julia, did everything she could to get the police officers to listen to what the psychic said, and she tried everything she could in her power to get the police officers so that they can go to the spot on the map, so that they can do the digging and do the searching. But the police officers were reluctant in doing so, simply because first they had exhausted all the resources and they had run out of resources. This was in 2023, and these, ladies and gentlemen, were the only 3 leads to now as we speak. Spencer Mandela Nakale is still missing, and we still have no idea, absolutely no idea where he is. In 2025, he would have been 8 years old. He's been missing for like 5 years now. He would have been 8 years old in 2025. Before I go, I would like to say a few things. One is, according to my research, it says that 70% of children that go missing, especially very, very young children, 70% of them that goes missing, it is usually the fault, not the fault, but it is usually by the hands of somebody that they know. That is what statistics say. Statistics say that 70% of kids that go missing at the hands of somebody very, very close to them. So it's either somebody like a neighbor, or somebody like a relative, or somebody like a parent. Spencer's parents, you could see every interview that they have conducted that they want nothing more than to find their child. You could see how much this little boy was loved, but they are still doing interviews to help find their child. Only other people that were there were kids, and you know how kids are. Kids are so occupied with playing, they are not even looking around to see what is going on. So how Spencer went missing, it's unclear. Nobody knows anything. It's as if he just disappeared into thin air. Trust me guys, I have never been so confused in my whole life. It was as if he just disappeared into thin air. First of all, if this boy walked out of the yard and walked to go to Aeroplane Bay where the sniffer dog was, people would have sighted him. And also the distance between the aunt's house to Aeroplane Bay, it's so far. I highly doubt a 3-year-old boy will be able to cover the distance without being noticed. So the fact that, let's say hypothetically speaking, he went there, it would have been very difficult for him to get there. Mind you, this is a very, very small boy. So how a very small boy like that can just disappear or walk out of the yard and then just disappear, it's crazy. They were just playing in a front yard 1 minute, and then after 30 minutes, whoo, the child is gone. I don't think people can disappear like that. So that is the story of Spencer. That is the story of Spencer. Spencer is still missing. He is still missing right now as we speak. His parents are still appealing to the public. Guys, if you have seen anything, if you have heard anything, let me tell you something, guys. You can actually give an anonymous tip. What does that mean? It means that you can tell the police officers what you've seen or heard, and then you would tell them that I don't want you to say that I'm the one who said this. So you can do it discreetly. You can go to them and be like, listen, this is what I've heard and this is what I've seen, without you giving out your name or your information. You can do that as well. I just cannot fathom, I just cannot comprehend how a 3-year-old boy just disappears out of nowhere, just like that, vanish. Right, so not everything is bad. At least something good came out of this. Julia managed to actually graduate, and then she got her bachelor's degree in nursing. Clock it. And I'm so happy for her. Congratulations, Julia. All I can say is I am so sorry that this happened to you and your family. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me and tuning to my channel. And yeah, I'm just so glad that you guys have decided to stick and stay. As per usual, please stay safe, be vigilant. It's a crazy world out there, and I want you to be safe because I care about you. So yeah, right, thank you so much, guys, for tuning into my channel, and do not forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, and I will see you in the next video.